Thanks for staying with us. Time now for African News with me, Georgia Calvin-Smith. Tonight, Libya faces worsening political and security troubles as military warplanes backing a rogue general bomb a militia camp in Benghazi. Ex-General Khalifa Haftar says that his offensive against Islamist former revolutionary fighters is the people's will. Former Premier Ali Zidane says he's right to push a shake-up. Also, in Ivory Coast, the opposition says that the vote on the makeup of the Independent Electoral Commission is setting the country on the path for trouble. Now, it's key to getting next year's sensitive presidential polls right after the last one descended into bloodshed and political chaos. And ease yourself onto the dance floor with the sound of Azonto and Let Rip. The Ghanaian dance craze has swept across the globe, while Katerina Vitozzi busts out her best dance moves. First, though, Libya's security problems continue to worsen. Warplanes backing the rogue ex-general accused by the government of launching a coup bombed militia in the eastern city of Benghazi. General Khalifa Haftar's offensive against Islamists today targeted a February 17th compound. Its fighters originate in the rebel brigades that took part in the 2011 revolution. Meanwhile, in Tripoli, gunmen attacked a unit charged with protecting the outgoing government. Amidst the violence, the US has urged all its citizens to leave. Haftar says he has popular backing to target jihadist militia. Former Prime Minister Ali Zidane today told France 24 that he supports General Haftar's attempts to shake up the status quo.
General Haftar is trying to put an end to the existence of terrorist and armed groups. He is trying to construct a new police and army and provide them with good training and weapons. The reason there is chaos in Libya today is the fact you have so many arms and grenades in circulation and armed militias everywhere.
In Ivory Coast, the makeup of the Independent Electoral Commission is key to getting next year's sensitive presidential polls right. It'll be the first vote since the bloody crisis sparked by the last such election. Well, today Parliament voted on its reform, but the opposition has rejected the changes as being unrepresentative.
The new Electoral Commission was adopted by lawmakers by a large majority.
It's a fair law. For the first time, opposition parties get as many seats as the ruling party. This is a good decision.
But this unanimity is misleading, because the main opposition party boycotted the election and is not represented in the National Assembly. Many outside Parliament criticized the Electoral Commission.
You cannot be both a player and a referee. Political parties, the president, candidates, government members, they are all players of the same game. It has to be someone else, outside the game, someone able to work without passion and for the common good of all Ivorians.
Civil society is worried. If the Electoral Commission is contested, it could lead to another crisis like 3 years ago.
We're worried because from the very start this Electoral Commission did not receive a broad consensus. It means that even if the elections are conducted freely and fairly, there will be room for protest and we could plunge into crisis.
The government has won the battle for the Independent Electoral Commission, but there is another round to fight for, the Commission's presidency. If the opposition gets it, the criticism might go away. Otherwise, the committee's credibility will come under fire.
4 more girls kidnapped by Boko Haram militants from the northeast of Nigeria last month have reportedly escaped. The Education Commissioner for Borno State hasn't released any more details of how they got away, but that leaves at least 219 more children still missing. They were all taken from their school in the village of Chibok on April 17th. The military says it knows where the remaining girls are, but has ruled out using force for fear the Islamist extremists may kill their captives. Meanwhile, 3 soldiers have reportedly been injured in a Boko Haram attack over the border in Cameroon. Mali has appointed a new defense minister after his predecessor, Soumaïlou Bébé Maïga, stepped down over the military's poor showing in an offensive on Tuareg separatist fighters in the northern city of Kidal last week. Armed rebels, including Tuareg group the MNLA, humiliated the army and seized back full control of their former stronghold. Though the government signed a ceasefire deal with the rebels last Friday, their fears the latest unrest could plunge Mali back into the crisis caused by a Tuareg rebellion back in 2012. Now, the UN sent forces into the country last year, and today France 24 asked the UN's head of peacekeeping what's next for the country.
This ceasefire has to be consolidated. But beyond that, I think the whole crisis has brought to mind the necessity to move forward in the implementation of the Ouagadougou Agreement last year about national reconciliation. That is what all actors in Mali and in the region and beyond have to work to. There's going to be an ECOWAS summit on Friday this week. Algeria is convening a meeting of the various parties in the north, and all the international community is mobilized to support a very quick and proactive process.
An onset of cholera in South Sudan has killed 23 people, with over 600 others suspected as suffering from the illness. Officials fear the outbreak of the deadly disease could get worse. Clovis Cassali has more.
In this hospital in Juba, dozens come every day for treatment following an outbreak of cholera. The disease causes severe diarrhea, draining the body of its water, and it's often fatal. Hundreds have already been infected, and there are fears the cholera epidemic could spread to other parts of South Sudan.
The surveillance effort is ongoing, and however, there are some cases some suspected cases reported in Kaka, Upper Nile. So all these locations downstream and along the Nile is also high-risk areas.
Cholera is transmitted through contaminated water and food. Children are particularly vulnerable to the disease. Aid workers are trying to prevent the situation from worsening, with tens of thousands of people living in overcrowded camps as the rainy season approaches.
One thing that happens here when it rains, the rainwater flows through the rubbish to the river. And two, when it's damped, when it's wet, this acts as a breeding place for the vector that carries the cholera.
Months of civil war in South Sudan have left hundreds of thousands displaced. The wave of ethnic violence has also disrupted food supplies and led to poor hygiene. UNICEF says it needs an additional $10 million to continue its aid operations across the country.
Well, for a lighter note, we turn to an African dance that has taken the world by storm. Azonto is featured in music videos for hip-hop and afrobeat artists across the globe and has become a dance floor regular. Well, now we go straight to Ghana, the source of Azonto fever, where Katerina Vitozzi has been busting some moves for us.
It's Fuse! See, I just came back from Ghana, and I want to share this dance that everyone was doing over there.
It's a global dance sensation. Hip-hop artists like Fuse ODG have made Azonto's distinctive moves one of Ghana's biggest cultural exports. And where better to find out about it than the home of Ghana's national dance ensemble, the National Theatre in Accra.
But you want to relax more and have that shoulder move, yes.
Nita Tayate is the ensemble's artistic director.
And you have to be more expressive with your face. Aha! There you go.
Azonto is a street dance. It's a young contemporary blend of several traditional African dances. At its core is this move. But its popularity comes from the freedom to add a personal touch.
I think the core idea was also to be able to communicate through your dance. So you might have a dancer dancing Azonto. He sees a girl, he points to the girl, like you and I should be one. He does something, I'll give you my heart. And then it also played heavily on this generation's excitement towards the idea of that individual showing a personality through the dance.
Traditional African dances normally have a strict structure. Azonto's freestyle flavour means it is a dance for all, even for beginners.
I'm from Canada, and for Ghanaian Independence Day, I think 2-3 years ago, they had an Azonto party. I wasn't sure what that was. I was studying, but then I just YouTubed it, and I just saw like the whole move. So I'm like, okay. And then I actually came to Ghana after, and I started learning more. Like my little brother's based here, and that's how he taught me.
And it's the youth keeping this dance alive, with some professional encouragement. Ghana's Ministry of Culture is promoting Azonto via flash mobs like this, led by the Ghana Dance Ensemble. These ladies couldn't resist joining in.
from the cradle, from the day you are born to the day you go to the grave, we always have a dance for every occasion in Ghana. That's how important dances are. It links up to the spirit, it's connected to the soul, and it's manifested in the body.
And thanks to Azonto's worldwide success, Ghana's dancing heritage is flying higher than ever.
Well, before I leave, I'm going to introduce my own Azonto dance partner, Mark Owen, who, before I hand over for more international news and headlines, will show France 24's own Azonto offering.
Freestyle.
Azonto.
Azonto. Azonto. Azonto.